Apple's October 2020 event is just around the corner. John Prosser reports that this will happen on October 13th, which is next Tuesday. And there you go, the event is now official. This is how the invite looks like. High speed, most likely hinting at that 5G and the A14 chip. Please join us for a special Apple event from Apple Park. Watch it online at apple.com, October 13th at 10 a.m. PDT. So, without any further ado, here are not 3, not 5, not 12, but actually 9 things you can expect from Apple's October event. So get your snacks ready, sit back, relax, and let's take a look. Okay, so the September 2020 event was focused on just the iPad 8th generation, the iPad Air 4, and the 2 brand new Apple Watches, the Apple Watch SE and the Apple Watch Series 6, mostly because the 2020 iPhones were all delayed because of COVID, and because of that, it made more sense for Apple to just hold an event for the devices that they could launch shortly after. So that's why we haven't really had an iPhone event in September, because they couldn't launch those in September. And now we're in October, and this is when this event will be happening. And this October event will mostly be focused on the brand new iPhones alongside a few smaller devices. And the first iPhone that we will be getting is the iPhone 12 mini. So this will essentially be a very small, but also a very capable iPhone. So the display size will be 5.4 inches, making this the smallest new iPhone since the iPhone 8. So that's in terms of the display. However, the body itself will actually be very, very small. So we've actually done a size comparison video of the mock-up that we got, and it turns out that the iPhone mini is actually smaller than the iPhone SE 8, 7, 6S6, but it actually does come with a much larger display. So if you're looking for a small, portable, one-handed iPhone with a larger display than anything that we've had before in this form factor, then this is the perfect iPhone, or probably even phone, for you. The display will be an OLED panel. We will be getting Face ID. The frame will be flat, so very similar to how the iPhone 4 and 5 and the new iPad Pros and Air look like. I'm personally a big fan of that. It will come with the Apple A14 processor, 4GB of RAM, as well as a dual camera module on the back. It is unclear at this point if this will feature a new camera sensor or if this will be the same camera sensor as on the iPhone 11s. Not that it matters though, as the iPhone 11s already had an outstanding camera. The 12 mini will have a main module and then a secondary ultra-wide angle module, just like the iPhone 11, the regular 11, did in 2019. Now, according to John Prosser, the 12 mini will come in 64GB, 128GB, and 256GB of storage, and also according to John, this thing will start at $649 and also come with 5G. Now, I would say that that's an insanely good price. That's less than the Pixel 5, that's less than the Samsung Galaxy S20 Fan Edition. Obviously, we do get a much smaller display and no high refresh rates, but we are at least getting a very good camera, pretty much the best performance that you can have on a phone, as well as a very, very compact and portable form factor. So that's the 12 mini. Next up, we have the iPhone 12, the default iPhone for anyone looking to upgrade, the regular iPhone 12. And really the only differences between the iPhone 12 mini and the iPhone 12 non-mini is the display size. So the iPhone 12 will come with a 6.1-inch panel, same size as the iPhone 11 from 2019 or the iPhone XR from 2018. Still an OLED display, still a flat frame, still 2 camera modules on the back. Now we will be getting a larger battery, a 2850 mAh battery compared to the 2227 on the iPhone mini. And I know that all of this sounds like nothing when compared to Android smartphones, but Apple's software and hardware experience is very closely integrated, and the iPhone 11s from last year, they had essentially the best battery life on any phone because of that. Now the iPhone 12s, they do actually have a smaller battery compared to all the iPhones 11s from last year. For example, the regular 11 had a 3110 mAh battery. But considering that the Apple A14 chip will now be based on a smaller 5nm process down from 7nm, it will require less power to operate, and therefore the battery can be smaller and the entire body of the phone can be thinner. Now, the iPhone 12 is rumored to also come in 64, 128GB, and 256GB configurations, just like the iPhone 12 mini. And according to John, the iPhone 12 will start from $749. Now I know that's $50 more than the iPhone 11 is currently priced at. Luckily, that OLED display is a pretty big upgrade over the LCD panel inside the iPhone 11. That combined with the Apple A14 chip and the new design should make the iPhone 12 a very good competitor to the Pixel 5, the S20 Fan Edition, as well as the OnePlus 8T and the OnePlus 8 Pro. Speaking of Pro, next up we have the iPhone 12 Pro. Now, size-wise, this iPhone will be pretty much identical to the iPhone 12. The differences that we will be getting, or the improvements, will be that the display will be brighter, so similar to the differences that we got from the iPhone XS to the iPhone 11 Pros. Then the camera will now be a triple lens camera module, so we are getting a telephoto module on the 12 Pro, which we do not have on the regular 12 or the 12 mini, as well as a LiDAR module, just like we got on the 2020 iPad Pro, which will improve the AR experience by being able to map the whole area in front of you in 3D. So that's pretty cool. It's not that useful at the moment, but you know, if you're heavily into AR, then that's a pretty cool thing to have. We would still get the same Apple A14 chip on the iPhone 12 Pro, but this is rumored to bump the RAM from 4 GB up to 6 GB. There were also quite a lot of rumors regarding a high refresh rate display on the iPhone 12 Pro, but unfortunately, from the looks of it, this has been cancelled. So no high refresh rate display on the iPhone 12 Pros, which really sucks. So the extra camera module, the extra 2 GB of RAM, and that LiDAR module seem to be the only main advantages to getting a Pro model over a non-Pro model. And personally, I would put my money on Apple also having a stainless steel frame on the Pro models versus an aluminum frame or aluminum on the non-Pro models, just to give the Pro models a more premium feel. They're currently doing this with the iPhone 11 Pros, where they have a stainless steel frame, and the iPhone 11, where we just have an aluminum frame. Now, there have been some rumors that Apple will also be adding 4K video at 120 frames per second and 4K at 240 on the Pro models of the iPhones, and possibly even a brand new sensor for better low light performance. If that does happen, it will make more sense only for the Pro models to come with this, especially since, you know, we no longer have a 120 Hz display. But still, I would say overall, I don't think a Pro model of the iPhone this year is actually worth getting, even if it comes with those camera upgrades, just because that's it. Camera, display slightly brighter, and, well, LiDAR, but who cares about LiDAR? And the RAM, which most people won't even notice. I honestly think that the Pro model this year needs to come with a 120 Hz panel, otherwise, I feel like it's not an actual Pro model. Like, the improvements over the regular iPhone, the baseline models, they're just not that big. Let me know in the comments, what do you guys think? Now, the 12 Pro is said to come in 128, 256, and 512 GB of storage, and start from essentially $1,000. Now, there will be a second Pro model of the iPhone 12, and that is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. So this will increase the display size to a 6.7-inch panel, making this the largest iPhone that Apple has ever made. And I do have the iPhone 12 Pro mock-up right here, and I gotta say, this phone feels gigantic. But wait, Daniel, the Note 20 Ultra and the S20 Ultra and many other phones are actually bigger than the iPhone 12 Pro Max is. And yes, they are. But you see, the iPhone 12 Pro Max is actually wider, which makes it pretty difficult to hold, and it is obviously not a one-handed device because of that. Now, in fact, I'm actually using the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2 as my daily driver. Review of that coming very soon, by the way. But my point is that I don't really need to have the highest-end iPhone anymore. So I'll very likely get the baseline 128GB iPhone 12 Pro, as at least that way I'll have a more compact phone, and then, you know, the Galaxy Z Fold 2 to go alongside it. Other than that, all the specs of the iPhone 12 Pro Max will be identical to the ones on the iPhone 12 Pro, aside from obviously the display size and the battery size, which is said to be 3,687 mAh when compared to 2,815 mAh on the iPhone 12 Pro. So this one should last you quite a bit longer in terms of the battery life compared to the iPhone 12 Pro and pretty much all the other ones. Now, the 12 Pro Max is rumored to start at $1,100. And I gotta mention that all the iPhones this year will lack a charger in the box as well as headphones. And aside from this, we are expecting some new colors with this new iPhone, or all the iPhone 12 models, with the main one being a navy blue color, you know, similar to the one that we got with the Apple Watch Series 6. Very similar to that. So there we go, that's pretty much everything we expect in terms of the new iPhones. Now, there are a few smaller announcements and a few other devices which we're also expecting to see at the October event, so here are all of those. The first one being the Apple AirTags. By the way, if you're enjoying this video and you want to see more interesting, cool videos like this one hopefully is, definitely subscribe and hit the bell icon as, it's free. In terms of the AirTags, they were initially expected to be unveiled back in June, then September, and now it seems to be October. Now, I wouldn't put my money on the AirTags being unveiled in October, like 100%. I think there's probably like a 70% chance, but I'm just not fully convinced. Now, in case you're not aware of what the AirTags are and what they do, essentially they are these tiny trackers that you can place on pretty much any objects or anything that you want, and then you'll be able to track those objects using the Find My app on your iPhone, iPad, or Mac. John Prosser has revealed how these will look like, and they seem to have this plain white front with no logo or anything, and then a metallic back with the Apple logo, and there seems to be a gap in between the back and the front, leaving room for some accessories and mounts, which John did mention that Apple was working on. Personally, I'm pretty excited for the AirTags, even more so than for the iPhone 12s, to be honest. Let me know in the comments if you feel the same. And there's also a brand new Apple TV in the works, it seems. So Twitter leaker Fudge at Chocobit, who's been quite accurate in the past, he reports that Apple is putting some big money into Apple Arcade to essentially turn the Apple TV into some sort of like a dedicated Apple gaming console. So apparently they have some big titles in the works, and they also plan on upgrading the CPU inside the Apple TV to an Apple A14 chip from the current Apple A14 10X processor that we have inside the current Apple TV, which came out in 2017. So that'll be a pretty gigantic upgrade. Now, aside from that, Fudge also reports that Apple is also working on their own gaming controller, which is interesting, especially considering that at the moment you can actually connect a controller to the Apple TV, a PlayStation 4 controller, or even an Xbox controller wirelessly, and it will work really well. But it seems that Apple just wants to make their own version of a gaming controller. Yeah, I'm really curious to see how they would look like, and also if they will actually provide any advantages over the PS4 and the Xbox One controllers. In fact, we've even had a recent leak showing that Apple will also be releasing Apple Arcade Plus. I'm not fully sure what the Arcade Plus will offer over the standard arcade. It seems like it will offer offline games. Yeah, so that's interesting, but it seems that Apple is also working on this smart controller, so apparently that will be the name of this controller, and let me know in the comments if you have an idea of what the smart controller, what features will it offer for it to deserve the name of being, a smart controller. Personally, I don't really game on my Apple TV at all. In fact, I don't even use my Apple TV at all anymore because my current TV has the Apple TV app built into it as well as AirPlay. So, I think I'll use it again when the new Apple Fitness Plus service actually gets released. Speaking of Fitness Plus, this is a new service that Apple has announced back in September, and they said that they will be launching this later on this year. And I'm actually really looking forward to that, especially if you're into the Apple ecosystem like I am, with an Apple Watch, iPhone, iPad, Mac, Apple TV, all of that. The Fitness Plus service will work extremely well across all of those devices, better than any other fitness service. Actually, aside from the Mac, it doesn't actually work on the Mac just yet. I do expect, however, Apple to launch Fitness Plus in October alongside these new iPhones. And I also expect Apple to finally launch their brand new AirPods Studio headset. We've talked about this one before, and this one has also been leaked by John Prosser recently. We've made our very own concept of the AirPods Studio, which I think looked pretty cool. But unfortunately, the ones that John Prosser has showed, which would be apparently the real deal, I don't think they look as good. Now, I'm probably biased towards our concept, but let me know in the comments if you think that the actual one doesn't look as good. Now, they will apparently have better noise canceling, as well as much better audio than compared to even the AirPods Pros. The ear cups are said to be removable and also replaceable, and apparently the left and right earpieces would automatically detect which ear they're on and automatically switch based on that. So that's some really cool stuff. They are said to be priced at $350, which would be $100 more than the AirPods Pro. And finally, speaking of music and audio and all of that, there is also a brand new HomePod in the works, according to some reports. Now, Mark Gurman from Bloomberg reported that Apple is planning to introduce a second-generation HomePod at a lower price at some point this year. Now, he does state that this will be a more affordable HomePod, which will feature 2 tweeters instead of 7, so the sound quality will not be as good as the regular HomePod, but it will be more affordable. It is very likely that this will be that HomePod mini that we've seen rumored quite some time ago. Now, personally, I'm not actually a big fan of the HomePod, so I do have one. I do think the sound quality is amazing, but the Siri aspect of it is just horrible. And I'm, mostly using Siri, then listening to stuff on my HomePod, and for that use case scenario, it's pretty bad. So I constantly have issues with it, as the Siri on the HomePod, fun fact, isn't as smart as Siri on your iPhone. It's really weird, but all Siris are actually different. So we have a separate Siri on the iPhone and the iPad, a separate Siri on the Apple TV, the Apple Watch, the Mac. They all have different versions of Siri tailored to the functions of that device. And I think the worst Siri is on the Apple TV, but the HomePod one isn't great either. But yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think about everything that I mentioned in this video? Which device, which announcements are you excited for the most? AirTags, in my case. Definitely subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one, more interesting tech videos like this one hopefully was. Become a member if you want to support the channel by clicking on the join button. And this has been pretty much it. So thank you for watching. This has been Zen of Tech. I'm Daniel, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Zen of Tech, signing out. Cheers.